thank you everyone for coming today. This is a fundraiser I've organized for Ukraine. And yeah, so we can get started right now. So just a little bit of background. The war, the most current war that's happening now, it started on February 24th when Putin and Russia invaded Ukraine, and the goal, I guess, was to overtake Ukraine by force. So first they tried to go for the capital, Kiev. That didn't work. So then they have been focusing on the east and the south. It was a completely unprovoked invasion and war. So it was pretty much front page news. This is New York Times online throughout the end of February. This is March, and even through April. And so just to give some stats on this war, through June, about 6 million refugees had left Ukraine. About 8 million people were displaced within the country. And that is about 1/3 of the total population have now left their homes. Total population is about 44 million. Through July 4th, more than 4,800 Ukrainian civilians were killed and 6,200 were wounded. And through the end of April, between 5,500 and 11,000 Ukrainian forces were killed. And now this is the biggest war in Europe since World War II. So, you know, the war is upsetting, clearly, but it's also personal to me because a city in the south of Ukraine, now called Mykolaiv, it used to be called Nikolaev. That is where my grandmother, Bobby, on my dad's side, so his mother, was born. So she was born in Nikolaev. So the war is also personal to me. So I'm thinking about how I can help and stuff like that. So here's a picture of a missile strike in Mykolaiv at the end of March. So I was doing some kind of preliminary research about just organizations that were helping Ukraine. Even right after the war started at the end of February, I found a whole ton of organizations, all with different focuses, some children, some the elderly, some medical, some with food, even pets. So after doing more research, I found an organization that I thought was really great, and that is called GlobalGiving. GlobalGiving, they have a specific fund called the Ukraine Crisis Relief Fund. And there's a number of reasons I like this organization. So GlobalGiving, it's a nonprofit that supports other nonprofits by connecting them to donors and companies. So it takes money and then distributes the money where the funds are needed the most to organizations that are kind of on the ground and very close to where the disaster is happening. This organization, GlobalGiving, is BBB accredited. So that's through the Better Business Bureau. And so it meets the 20 BBB standards for charity accountability. And it has 4 out of 4 stars and a 98 out of 100 score from Charity Navigator, which scores charities. So that's it's one of the best. And that score is based on financial and accountability and transparency. This group, it also states where the money is going towards and what it'll be used for. And in this case, for the Ukraine Crisis Relief Fund, it's going to shelter, food, and clean water for refugees. It's going to health and psychosocial support, There's for access to education and economic assistance and other things as well. And it also states how much money the campaign needs. So the goal of this campaign, the Ukraine Crisis Relief Fund, they set it at $55 million, and they've already raised more than $51 million, which is amazing, but they're still over $3 million short. So there's definitely still room to contribute. So there are a number of organizations within this particular fund. When I counted the other day, it was around 90 organizations that are essentially handpicked by GlobalGiving, and they fund with the money that comes in. And some of the organizations include helping children with cancer, Habitat for Humanity, the Ukrainian refugee response, supporting children and families in Ukraine by UNICEF, helping refugees in Poland, and even a Ukraine Journalism Relief Fund by the Marine Education Initiative. So in terms of the next steps, your contribution will make a big difference. It would definitely be appreciated by Ukrainians. It goes towards humanitarian aid where it's needed the most. So right now, the fund will initially help first responders conducting search and rescue operations and meeting survivors' urgent needs, including shelter, medical care, food, and clean water. And then once the initial relief work is complete, the money will be allocated by GlobalGiving for longer-term recovery efforts led by local organizations. And so I set up a fund. It's called Jonah's Ukraine Crisis Relief Fund. Here's the link. I'll also put this in the chat, and I'll make sure you get this link another way as well. And so I set the goal of $50,000, but whatever you want to contribute, it's completely appreciated. I appreciate it. Ukrainians will certainly appreciate it. And I have high confidence that it's going to a really good organization, and they know how to use the funds in a really good way. So that is it. Thank you for listening. Now we can open it up to questions.